Okay, guys, today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I did not realize when starting a reverse diet. And honestly, I'm just kind of talking out loud as I go. I didn't really plan this, so it'll be very authentic. But one thing I have learned doing a reverse diet is that I do have a lot more energy to work out, and and I have a much stronger desire to work out and do weights and all these things. I think because before, the one thing that felt in my control was my calories, and now that I feel like I don't have control over my calories and my coach does, then the only way I know how to get control is to execute really well the things she's told me to do. And part of it that comes with working out. Um, yeah, because I did tell her, my coach, her name is Kelly, and I told her that it's really hard not having that control over calories myself, because I feel like when life is crazy, oftentimes the one thing I know to control is my calories, and it makes me feel stable amongst having like a very chaotic life in general. And so I said now for like my control over my calories to feel stripped away, then it makes me feel like so chaotic in every other area of my life. And she said, like, sure, you can't completely control the calories, but she's like, but you can control how well I follow what she's telling me to do. And at the end of the day, like, I think this is what's so interesting about having a coach is like, it's like I obviously chose my coach for a reason, and yet I somehow like question so much if she knows what she's doing and if she's gonna lead me astray. When it's like I have to remind myself I chose her for a reason, and she's gotten results for so many people. And even like a side note, but like on a macro level, we do this with God so much, and we we question if he's able to lead us well when it's like he's the ultimate coach. And of course, like as a coach, you have your client's best interest in mind. So of course God has our best interest in mind, and yet we question him. And he's literally the expert of us because he created us. So he knows what we need. He knows our psychology, our brain, our hearts, all of those things. And for some reason, it's just so hard to trust him. And so it's like if I'm having a hard time trusting my physical coach, who I can see and communicate with so easily, how much harder of a time will we have trusting God, who we can't see? So anyways, I feel like that's been teaching me things with that too. But yeah, so overall, just more energy for working out and just like a stronger desire to work out. And just like really enjoying weights in general has been a fun and unexpected thing from reverse dieting. And then number 2, so I'm about 5 weeks into it now, and I am basically the same weight, if not a tiny bit less weight than I was when I started. So I think it's just interesting to like prove your own thought process wrong as you're experiencing new things, because I just thought like, for sure, obviously if you're increasing your calories you're going to gain weight, but it's like I'm eating 275 calories more than I was when I started, and I'm a little bit less weight. So that's already disproving my thought process on that. So that's been cool. And then a third thing I have learned from reverse dieting is that like it's okay. The reason you gain weight before is not because you're eating at your maintenance calories, it's because you were in a crazy surplus. So like for me, it makes me nervous to increase my calories because I feel like I'm just going to gain weight. But the reason I'm not even what my maintenance should be at. So the reason I had gained weight before in the past was because I was way over what my true maintenance should even be. It's not because I was even at my true maintenance. So it's like as you're doing the reverse diet, it's okay. It's okay to for it to be uncomfortable and to just keep going so that you get to your new maintenance. And don't be afraid of the scale moving a little bit, because the scale moving usually just means carbs in the process, because obviously you're going to be eating more carbs, you're going to have more water weight, you're going to have more food in your system, so you should be like a little heavier. But that does not mean that your body composition isn't simultaneously getting better. And if you just stayed at that smaller weight because you're too afraid to eat more, then you never get to experience having a better body composition. Because at this point, of course, like, I'm not exactly where I want to be at or anything, but I do feel more toned, and I do have more definition than when I started. And I have had like a few people tell me I'm seeming pretty toned. So there's that. And then, okay, a fourth thing I'm learning doing a reverse diet is that, okay, this is something I did learn, is that it's really not just for people who have done extreme body competitions and have been in crazy deficits. Because I feel like you hear that all the time, or even I've been learning how inaccurate sometimes ChatGPT can be, because it doesn't know you individually. Because when I was researching, everything that was saying you should do a reverse diet was just, it was saying it's only for people who are like in body competitions and things like that, and who like really severely need it. But then, like, through this whole process and talking to like several people who are coaches, they say they have majority of their clients start out on a reverse diet. So that's interesting. So I think it just more people need to reverse diet than you would think. So that's something. And then fifth thing that I've learned that's been unexpected on a reverse diet is I guess whenever I've seen other people who are able to eat more in the past, I was just like, okay, that just doesn't make sense how they seem to be eating so much more than I am, and yet they're still like a very small person. Like, how are they eating so much? And so then it's all those like your naturally skinny friends, things like that. I was like, how are they eating so much? And I'm like, okay, well, obviously they're not really eating that much, or like when I don't see them, when I'm not with them, like they're probably like really under eating those times, and they just seem like they're eating a lot when we're together or something. But that's another false assumption I had. I'm sure, yeah, that can be the instance for some people, but that's another false assumption I had, because the truth is that I've been learning through reverse dieting is that their metabolisms are just upregulated, and they're not in plateau, and they have been eating more for longer, and so their body knows how to use those calories to burn fat and use it for energy rather than storing it as fat. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But those are 5 things I have learned, or 5, not 10. Those are 5 things I have learned that have been unexpected doing this reverse diet. And like I said, I'm in week 5. And yeah, I had another check-in with my coach today, and I'm feeling better than I did yesterday. I'm honestly feeling pretty decent today. I think it's so interesting, just like how our emotions can shift so much every day, how we feel in our body can just shift so much every day. So it's really important to not place too much emphasis on how you feel one day, because you could feel way different the next day or even a couple days later. So don't let one day of feeling off deter you from staying on the path and reaching your goals just because you feel bad or horrible for one day or a couple days, because it doesn't mean you won't feel good again in a day or two. So that's all.